Hello and welcome to the Huddle Bible Study YouTube channel. I'm the leader of the Huddle Bible Study, Camden Griner, and this YouTube channel is going to be used for all the in and outs of the Huddle Bible Study members, what they do throughout the week being a member of the Huddle Bible Study, and the different add-ons to the lessons that we learn or future lessons that we will learn, dig a little bit deeper than we would normally while we're having our lessons and hanging out. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up a past lesson about Moses. And Moses, as a young child, very young, just born, was put in a basket. This was during a time that Pharaoh was having his guards go around and kill every single child of Moses' age. Moses' mother puts him in this straw basket and floats him down the Nile. True testimony of God works in mysterious ways, because Pharaoh's daughter, of anyone else, finds Moses in the basket. Moses is taken in by the Pharaoh's daughter, and he is raised in royalty, basically, which he was a Hebrew, which we will see is later they're taken as slaves, and so, but we'll come to that later. Moses knows of his heritage, and being the person who he is, he's one day out and about. The Egyptian worker or a slave, it wouldn't have been a slave owner, but it would have been the person that would have been watching over or supervising the slaves, the Hebrews, one of the Egyptians. And this Egyptian man is profusely just giving a beating to one of the Hebrew workers. And Moses stands up and he actually kills the Egyptian slave watcher. And so, knowing this, that he could be killed for doing what he just did, Moses flees into the desert and prepares to, honestly, he probably was thinking the worst. I mean, he just killed a man. He's preparing himself for what he doesn't know exactly yet. God talks to him through a burning bush. It's crazy. He tells him through the burning bush, Moses, you got to go back. This is a short term. He's like, Moses, you got to go back, and I'm commanding you to free your people, right? So Moses goes back, and this is to take a step back from that too. This isn't God just going, hey, I'm going to pick you, Moses, because you're a king or because you're very wealthy. No, Moses was supposed to be born a slave. Moses wouldn't be seen as someone who would be doing something like this, but God uses him, and he shows that through people, through broken people. We see it throughout the entire Bible, through women at the well, the lowest of lows. Jesus hung out with those people. He healed those people, and he used those people to do his will. He took fishermen to be his disciples. And now I'm not saying that this is like those are the only people Jesus or God that he works through. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's showing that the level that God can work on. He's got every single person, no matter your background, your color, your creed. It doesn't matter. God's got. He's working. He works through people in that sense. But to get back on track to where we were, yes, God talks to Moses through the burning bush and calls him back. Through God's power, Moses confronts Pharaoh. He called down plagues and led the Israelites out of slavery. So he calls out the plagues, talks with Pharaoh, tells him that this will happen, and basically the last plague, the final plague that sent Pharaoh over the edge, was where every household over their door was to have blood of a lamb put over their doors, and then God would pass over them, and he wouldn't kill their child, and Pharaoh's son dies. And so that's like the last straw, basically, for Pharaoh. He understands, okay, this guy's real. I can't keep messing around with his followers, his workers through his messages. But it doesn't end there either, because Pharaoh's still upset. So they leave, through one of the most incredible moments, God uses Moses to part the Red Sea, and Moses walks through with everybody else. He walks through with everybody else, and we just see we see Pharaoh and his army come following through because, like I said, Pharaoh is upset. He's not happy. His son just died. They went through famine, plague. Their water turned to blood. He's had it up to here basically, but he's not understanding the full picture. It's all about him. To him, he's God, and that's obviously not how we should live our own lives. And just take that to a sliver, basically, for our own lives. Just like, don't be a Pharaoh. Don't look at yourself as greater than not only other people, but only using God as a tool for prayer, basically. Because that's not what we should do, as we know that. That's common sense. But they go through, the waters close up, Pharaoh and his army die underneath that water. Moses leads the group through the desert. And now to pick back up on through my paper, Moses, after they wander the desert, Moses never enters the promised land that God promised his people to be able to enter into after the slavery of being held by the Egyptian. They wander the desert, basically. And just before they're about to enter the promised land, Moses actually dies. And as sad as that sounds, like Moses did all this for nothing. No, that's where you're wrong, because he didn't. We have a lesson where we could break this down for hours. The different things that Moses could teach us through what he did. But to keep it short and sweet, Moses, through trial and tribulation, not listening to the odds, took Pharaoh on head first with God, grabbed his people, hightailed it out of there, and trusted God through the desert too. Because it wasn't a short trip. They spent years in the desert, wandering to find the promised land that God promised them. Moses was able to deal with his own people. Moses was faithful to God. His people were also faithful to God. But you got to think, you're wandering through the desert, and God has never left their side. Not one time. Not one time did God leave their side. But they became restless. They became to a point where they were just looking for something to do. So Moses goes up to Mount Sinai, and I have this written down. Moses goes up to Mount Sinai by himself. He goes to write the Ten Commandments, guiding the Israelites on how to live as God's people. Comes back down to an altar made. It is a gold altar. They took all their gold, all their Egyptian gold that they had. They put it in a kiln, is the best way to explain it. They melt this gold and they make a calf. And they start worshiping the calf. That's worshiping a false idol, as we know. That's a sin in itself, just that alone. But they had nothing else to do. They came to the point where they were worshiping a golden calf, which is just, honestly, just kind of absurd. But they didn't have the faith. And Moses comes down and he smashed it out of anger that he just spent this time up in the mountain of Mount Sinai with God, writing these 10 Commandments. But he comes down and sees this. He smashes the tablet and he heads back up after the whole confronting of his brother, of his own brother, who led the making of the golden calf. So he heads back up and he redoes the 10 Commandments. And so that there too is also a lesson of Moses' faith and ability to persevere through pressures of this world, because we're going to face things in this world. We're going to face we're gonna have our ups and downs. We're gonna have our seasons of good, and we're gonna have our seasons of bad. But it's good to remember to look back on a story like this, and it's good to remember that God's got our back, and as long as we just trust in God, He's gonna push us through it. It's not gonna be easy. It never will be easy. There's sin in this world, and that's the world that we live in. But through Jesus dying on the cross, we're able to find peace and pray to God, and we're able to have that veil torn and be able to enter through a more intimate relationship with God than we couldn't have without Jesus' death. So to recap this real quick, so what can we learn from Moses is to trust God, obey even when it's hard, and to remember that God equips those He calls. That's all I have for us today. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. Share this to somebody you might think would benefit from hearing this. I'll keep in touch with you all for the upcoming week, and I'll let you know how the schedules pan out for the next Bible study. Thank you for watching, and have a great week.